I recorded my sister at Mom's funeral. What she said destroyed our family. I hid my phone in my pocket during Mom's funeral reception and recorded my sister admitting she'd been draining our dying mother's accounts for 2 years. $1.8 million gone. My name is Michael Chen, and I was 58 years old when I learned that my sister had stolen our mother's entire life savings. Every penny. $1.8 million. Money that Mom had worked 40 years to save. Money she wanted split equally between the three of us. Me, my sister Karen, and our younger brother David, who died in Afghanistan in 2009. The recording happened on October 3rd, 2023. Mom's funeral. But the story really starts 2 years before that. Mom was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer on March 17th, 2021. She was 82 years old. The doctor said 6 months, maybe 8 if we were lucky. She lasted 30 months. That's the kind of woman Eleanor Chen was. Stubborn. Fighter. Never gave up on anything. I was living in Sacramento at the time, about 90 miles from Mom's place in Fresno. I'd retired from the fire department 3 years earlier after 32 years of service. My pension was decent. Not rich, but comfortable. My wife, Linda, and I had just paid off our mortgage. Life was good. Karen lived in San Diego. She was a real estate agent. Divorced twice. Had one daughter, Jessica, who was 29 and worked as a social media consultant, which as far as I could tell meant she took pictures of herself for Instagram. Karen and I had never been close. Even as kids, she was always the one who'd steal cookies and blame David. The one who'd forge Dad's signature on permission slips. Mom used to say Karen had creative problem-solving skills. I should have paid more attention to that. When Mom got the diagnosis, I drove down to Fresno that same day. Got there around 7 p.m. Mom was sitting in her kitchen, the same kitchen where she'd made us breakfast for 50 years, and she was crying. Not sobbing, just quiet tears running down her face. "It's okay, Mom," I said, holding her hand. "No, baby, it's not." She looked at me with those sharp brown eyes that had caught me in every lie I'd ever told. "I'm not ready. I have things to do." "Like what?" "Like make sure you kids are taken care of. Make sure everything is fair." That word. Fair. I'd hear it a lot over the next 2 years. Karen showed up 2 days later. Flew in from San Diego, rented a car, showed up in a designer dress and heels like she was going to a cocktail party, not visiting our dying mother. "Michael," she said, air kissing near my cheek. "You look tired." "I've been here helping Mom." "Of course you have." She smiled. Saint Michael. Always the good son. I let it go. Mom was dying. Family drama could wait. That first night, the three of us sat in Mom's living room. Mom was in her recliner, the one Dad had bought her for their 40th anniversary, before his heart attack took him in 2015. Karen and I were on the couch. "I want to talk about practical things," Mom said. "While I still can." "Mom, don't," I started. "Hush. This is important." She pulled out a folder. "I updated my will last year. Everything is split equally between you two. The house, my savings, my life insurance. All of it. 50-50. That's not necessary right now," Karen said, but I saw her eyes flicker to the folder. "It's very necessary." Mom's hand shook slightly as she held up a paper. "The house is paid off. It's worth about $650,000 in this market. My savings account has $380,000. I have a life insurance policy through Dad's union, $750,000. There's also my pension, which stops when I die, and about $20,000 in a checking account for final expenses and bills." I did the math. About $1.8 million total. Split 2 ways, $900,000 each. I didn't care about the money. I cared about Mom. But Karen was leaning forward, paying attention. "I've also named you both as co-executors," Mom continued. "You'll need to work together. Can you do that?" "Of course," Karen said immediately. "Sure, Mom," I agreed. Mom looked at us for a long moment. "Promise me something. Promise me you'll take care of each other. David is gone." Her voice cracked. Even 7 years later, talking about David hurt her. "You two are all that's left of this family. Promise me you won't let money tear you apart." I promise, I said. Me too, Karen said. Mom nodded. I'm going to keep the original will with my lawyer, Robert Flores. You both have his number. When the time comes, he'll handle everything. Fair and square. The way I want it. Fair and square. 3 months later, Mom couldn't walk without help. 6 months later, she was in a hospital bed we'd set up in the living room. The hospice nurse, a kind woman named Teresa, came 3 times a week. I'd moved in with Mom. Linda understood. She'd visit on weekends, but during the week, I slept in my old childhood bedroom and took care of Mom. Changed her sheets, helped her to the bathroom, fed her when she could eat, held her hand when the pain was bad. Karen visited once a month. Maybe she'd stay for a weekend, make a show of fluffing pillows, then fly back to San Diego. I have clients, she'd explain. I can't just abandon my business. Fine. I was there. That's what mattered. But something started changing around month 8. Mom started asking about money. Michael, did I pay the electric bill? Yes, Mom. Last week. What about property taxes? All paid. Don't worry. The life insurance. Did I make the premium? It's automatic from your account, Mom. It's fine. But she'd ask again the next day. And the day after. Like she couldn't remember. Or like something was worrying her. One afternoon in November 2021, about 8 months after the diagnosis, Mom grabbed my wrist while I was giving her medication. Michael, listen to me. I'm listening, Mom. If anything happens to me, if I get confused, if I can't think straight anymore, you need to watch Karen. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Just watch her. Please. She's not like you. She's always been. Mom searched for the word. Opportunistic. Mom, don't worry about. Promise me. I promise. She relaxed back into her pillows. Good. Good. I should have understood what she was telling me. I didn't. November turned into December. Mom rallied a bit during Christmas. We had a small celebration. Me, Linda, Karen, Jessica, and a few of Mom's oldest friends from church. Mom was weak, but happy. She kept saying it might be her last Christmas. It wasn't. She made it through New Year's. Then Valentine's Day. Then Easter. Your mother is a fighter, Teresa the hospice nurse said in April 2022. I've never seen someone hang on this long with her diagnosis. She's stubborn, I said. She's lucky to have you. I didn't feel lucky. I felt exhausted. Watching someone you love die slowly is like drowning in slow motion. Every day, a little bit harder to breathe. That same month, April 2022, Karen asked to talk to me privately. We stood outside on Mom's front porch. It was a warm evening, the kind of Central California spring that makes you forget summer is coming to bake everything brown. I'm worried about Mom's finances, Karen said. Why? Everything's handled. But is it? Michael, you're not good with money. You're a firefighter, not an accountant. That stung. I can balance a checkbook, Karen. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying this is complicated. Healthcare costs, medications, property taxes, utilities. It adds up. I think I should help. Help how? Let me handle Mom's accounts. I deal with money all time in real estate. I can make sure everything is organized, paid on time, properly tracked. Something felt wrong. I couldn't name it, but it was there. Mom's lawyer handles the important stuff, I said. And I got the day-to-day covered. Karen's smile tightened. I'm just trying to help, Michael. But fine, if you want to be stubborn about it. I'm not being stubborn. Whatever you say. She went back inside. I stood on that porch for another 10 minutes, watching the sun set, wondering why the conversation felt like a trap I'd barely avoided. 2 weeks later, Karen brought it up again, this time in front of Mom. Mom, I really think we should consolidate your accounts. Make things easier. I could add my name to your checking, help pay bills. Mom looked at her, then at me. Michael handles it, but Michael lives 90 miles away. What if something urgent comes up? What if you need something and he's not here? He's here every day, Mom said quietly. Still, it would be smart to have a backup, just in case. I was about to object when Mom said, okay. My heart dropped. Okay. Karen smiled. Really? Just a checking account. For bills. Nothing else. Mom's voice was firm. And Michael stays on it too. Both of you. Of course, Karen said quickly. That's all I meant. Just to help. The next day, Karen drove Mom to the bank. I offered to go, but Karen said, "You've done enough. Let me handle this." They were gone for 2 hours. When they came back, Mom looked tired. More tired than usual. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine," Mom said, but she wouldn't look at me. That night, after Mom fell asleep, I checked her bank statements online. I had the login information. Mom had given it to me months ago. The checking account showed Karen had been added as a joint owner. That was expected, but something else caught my eye. There had been a transfer. $50,000 from Mom's savings account to her checking account. That afternoon, while Karen and Mom were at the bank, I stared at the screen. Why would they move $50,000 to checking? Mom's monthly expenses were maybe $4,000, and that included everything. Healthcare, utilities, food, property taxes. Even with medicine costs, we didn't need anywhere near $50,000 in the checking account. I told myself it was fine. Maybe Mom wanted a cushion. Maybe Karen suggested it for safety. Maybe I was being paranoid. But Mom's voice echoed in my head, "Watch Karen." 3 days later, I checked the account again. $15,000 was gone from checking. Just gone. I called Karen immediately. "Hey, Michael. What's up? There's $15,000 missing from Mom's checking account." Pause. "Oh, that. Yeah. Mom asked me to pay some bills." "What bills cost $15,000? "Medical expenses. You know how it is. Co-pays, medications, that specialist consultation in February. It adds up. I have receipts for all of that. It was maybe $3,000 total. Well, there are other things. Look, Michael, I'm handling it. You don't need to worry about every single transaction." "I'm not worried about every transaction. I'm worried about $15,000 disappearing." Her voice got cold. "Are you accusing me of something?" "I'm asking you to explain." "I don't have to explain anything to you. I'm the executor. I have just as much right to handle Mom's money as you do. Actually, I have more right because at least I understand finances." "Karen, I've got to go. I have a client." She hung up. I sat there holding the phone, my hands shaking. That night, I asked Mom about it. "Mom, did you ask Karen to pay $15,000 in bills?" Mom looked confused. "What bills?" "That's what I'm asking. I don't remember." She pressed her hand to her forehead. "The pain medication makes everything fuzzy." "It's okay, Mom. Don't worry about it." But I was worrying. A lot. Over the next 3 weeks, I watched the account like a hawk. Another $8,000 disappeared. Then $12,000. Then $20,000. Every time I called Karen, she had an explanation. Medical bills. Property taxes paid early. Investment opportunities she was setting up for Mom. Home repairs that needed to be done before Mom died, so the house would sell for more. None of it made sense. I called Mom's lawyer, Robert Flores. "Mr. Flores, this is Michael Chen. Eleanor has son." "Michael, of course. How's your mother?" "Hanging in there. Listen, I have a question about her accounts. My sister Karen was added to the checking account, and there's been some unusual activity. Large withdrawals." "How large?" "About $55,000 in 3 weeks." Silence. "Mr. Flores? That is concerning. However, if your mother authorized Karen to be on the account, and if Karen is using it for your mother's expenses, there's not much I could do legally unless we can prove impropriety. What if the expenses aren't real? Do you have proof?" "I didn't." "Not yet. Then my advice is to document everything. Keep records, bank statements, receipts, any communication with your sister about the money. If this goes somewhere we don't want it to go, you'll need evidence." "You think she's stealing from Mom?" "I think you should watch the accounts very carefully." There was that word again. Watch. I started keeping a spreadsheet. Every withdrawal, every transfer, I wrote it down. Date, amount, Karen's explanation if she gave one. By June 2022, 3 months after Karen got access to the checking account, $127,000 was gone. I confronted her again, this time face to face. She'd flown up for a visit, staying at a hotel instead of at Mom's house, because the medical equipment makes it hard to sleep. We met for coffee at a Starbucks near Mom's house. You've taken $127,000, I said, sliding a printed copy of my spreadsheet across the table. Karen glanced at it. Is this what you've been doing with your time? Making spreadsheets about me? Answer the question. I haven't taken anything. I've been managing Mom's expenses. Like she asked me to. Show me the receipts. I don't have to show you anything. Yes, you do. We're co-executors. That means transparency. She laughed. Actually laughed. Michael, you're so out of your depth here. You think you understand how money works because you paid a mortgage for 30 years. You have no idea how to manage wealth. This isn't wealth management. This is theft. Her eyes went hard. Be very careful what you accuse me of. Or what? Or, I'll make sure Mom knows you're harassing me. Do you want to stress her out in her final months? Make her last days about your paranoia? That hit me like a punch. This isn't paranoia, isn't it? She stood up. I'm done with this conversation. If you can't trust me, that's your problem. But I'm doing what's best for Mom, which is more than I can say for you sitting around counting pennies like Scrooge. She walked out. I sat there for a long time, staring at my spreadsheet, feeling helpless. When I got back to Mom's house, she was awake, sitting up in her bed. Michael, come here. I sat in the chair next to her. Are you and Karen fighting? No, Mom. Everything's fine. Don't lie to me. I'm dying, not stupid. Her hand found mine. What's wrong? I couldn't tell her. I couldn't add that stress to her dying days. Just sibling stuff, I said. We'll work it out. Mom studied my face. She's taking money, isn't she? My breath caught. Mom, I'm not as out of it as everyone thinks. I see the bank statements when they come. I see numbers that don't make sense. Her grip tightened. How much? Mom, don't worry about this. How much, Michael? About $127,000. She closed her eyes. One tear rolled down her cheek. I'm sorry. For what? For not protecting you from her. For not seeing it sooner. For being weak. You're not weak. You're the strongest person I know. Then why can't I stop her? Her voice broke. It's my money. My life savings. And I can't even protect it because I can barely think straight anymore. The cancer, the medication, it's all fog. I'll protect it, I said. I promise. But I didn't know how. Not yet. July 2022 was brutal. The heat, the waiting. Watching Mom slip away inch by inch while Karen bled her accounts dry. I'd started taking photos of every bank statement, every transaction. I had a folder on my phone labeled insurance documents in case Karen ever looked. Inside were 47 screenshots of withdrawals, transfers, and Karen's text message excuses. $127,000 became $183,000. Then $240,000. The savings account was almost empty. Karen had transferred it all to checking, then slowly drained it. When I asked her about it, she said, Mom wanted her money liquid, easy to access for end-of-life expenses. End-of-life expenses don't cost $240,000. I contacted Mom's bank directly, asked to speak to the branch manager. A woman named Patricia Santos agreed to meet with me. Mr. Chen, I understand your concerns, but your sister is a joint account holder. She has legal authority to access the funds. Even if my mother has dementia from medication, even if she can't consent, Patricia's face softened. Did your mother have a medical power of attorney established? Yes. Both me and Karen are co-agents. Then unless you can prove your mother is mentally incompetent through a legal process, or unless you can prove fraud, my hands are tied. Your sister isn't breaking any banking laws. She's stealing. You believe she's stealing. But belief isn't evidence. Get a lawyer, Mr. Chen. This is beyond what the bank can help with. I left that meeting feeling like I was drowning. That night, I called Linda. She'd been patient through all of this, visiting every weekend, supporting me, never complaining that I'd basically abandoned our life for 2 years to care for Mom. I don't know what to do, I told her. You document. You wait. And when the time comes, you fight. What if there's nothing left to fight for? Then you fight anyway. For your mom. For what's right. Linda always knew the right thing to say. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. A woman showed up at Mom's house. She was maybe 35, dressed professionally, carrying a folder. She knocked at 2 p.m., right after Teresa had finished Mom's afternoon care. "Can I help you?" I asked through the screen door. "Are you Michael Chen?" "Yeah. My name is Amy Reyes. I'm your cousin." "Well, second cousin. My grandmother was your mom's cousin Rosa. Ivagueli remembered Rosa. She died when I was a kid." "Okay," I said carefully. "Can I come in? I need to talk to you about something important." I let her in. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where Mom had told us about the cancer. The same table where everything had started falling apart. "I'm a paralegal," Amy said. "I work for a law firm in San Francisco. Estate law mostly. I heard through the family grapevine that your mom is sick, and I wanted to reach out. That's kind of you, but I also heard Karen is on your mom's accounts." That stopped me cold. "How did you hear that?" "My mom talked to her sister, who talked to someone at your mom's church, who mentioned Karen was helping with finances. And based on what I know about Karen from family stories, that set off alarm bells." "What do you know about Karen?" Amy opened her folder. "When Karen was 22, she borrowed $15,000 from our grandmother Rosa for a business opportunity. Never paid it back. When Karen was 28, she convinced your Aunt Margaret to co-sign a car loan. Karen defaulted. Margaret's credit was destroyed. When Karen was 34, she borrowed $8,000 from her mom for Jessica's college fund. My mom saw that check. Did Jessica get that money?" My stomach turned. "I don't know. Jessica went to community college for one semester, then dropped out. That was 12 years ago. So where did $8,000 go?" I stared at this woman I'd just met. This stranger who knew more about my sister's history than I did. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because family should protect family. And because I've seen this before in my work. Someone gets access to an elderly person's accounts during end-of-life care. They start with small amounts. Test the waters. Then bigger amounts. By the time anyone notices, the accounts are empty and the victim is dead. That's exactly what's happening. How much has she taken? $240,000. That I can prove." Amy closed her eyes. "Jesus. What do I do?" "You need a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Someone who specializes in elder financial abuse. And you need to act fast because once your mom passes, proving abuse becomes exponentially harder. I can't afford a lawyer. My pension is decent, but not lawyer-level decent. The lawyer I work for takes some cases pro bono if there's clear elder abuse. Let me make a call. Can you send me your documentation?" I sent her everything. The spreadsheet, the screenshots, the timeline. 2 days later, Amy called back. "My boss wants to meet with you. His name is Richard Chen. No relation, different Chen. He looked at your evidence, and he's interested." We met the following Tuesday. Richard Chen's office was in downtown Fresno, on the 3rd floor of an old building that smelled like coffee and paper. He was maybe 50, salt and pepper hair, sharp eyes. "Mr. Chen, I'll be direct. What your sister is doing is likely elder financial abuse under California law. The problem is proving it before your mother dies." "How is her mental state?" "Declining. The pain medication keeps her pretty out of it. She has good days and bad days." "Can she testify to not authorizing these withdrawals?" "Some days, yes. Some days, she barely knows who I am." Richard nodded. "We need to move quickly. I can file for a temporary restraining order to freeze the accounts, but I need your mother to sign an affidavit on a good day stating that she didn't authorize Karen to withdraw that money for personal use." "What if Karen says Mom did authorize it?" "Then it becomes a he said, she said situation, and we'll need additional evidence." "Do you have any recordings? Any witnesses to conversations?" "No recordings. But Teresa, the hospice nurse, has been around for some of the financial discussions. And Mom's doctor can testify to her medication levels and cognitive state. That helps. Here's what I need from you. Get your mother to sign an affidavit on her next clear day. I'll draft it. Get Teresa to witness it. Then we file for emergency relief to freeze the accounts and demand an accounting from Karen of every dollar spent." "How long does that take?" "In emergency situations, 2 weeks maybe. Depends on the court calendar. 2 weeks. In that time, Karen could drain another $50,000 or more. There's one more thing, Richard said. This will get ugly. Your sister will fight back. She'll hire lawyers. She'll make accusations against you. She'll try to paint you as the one taking advantage of your mother. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Mom crying, saying, I'm sorry. I thought about 40 years of her working as a bookkeeper, saving every penny, denying herself luxuries so we'd have something when she was gone. Yeah, I said. I'm prepared. We drafted the affidavit that afternoon. Simple, clear language. I, Eleanor Chen, am of sound mind at the time of signing this document. I authorized my daughter Karen to be added to my checking account for the sole purpose of paying my monthly bills and expenses. I did not authorize her to withdraw large sums of money for personal use or for any purpose other than my direct care. I believe money has been taken from my accounts without my permission. I request immediate investigation and accounting of all funds. I took it home, waited for Mom to have a clear morning. It came 3 days later, August 2nd, 2022. Mom woke up more alert than she'd been in weeks. Morning, baby, she said when I brought her breakfast. Morning, Mom. You seem good today. I feel good. Well, not good, but clear. My head is clear. Mom, I need you to do something. And I need you to trust me. I explained everything. The affidavit, the lawyer, the plan. Mom listened quietly. When I finished, she said, Where do I sign? Teresa witnessed the signature. She even added her own statement. I have been Eleanor Chen's hospice nurse for 14 months. In my professional opinion, she understood this document and signed it willingly. 2 days later, Richard filed for a temporary restraining order and emergency accounting. Karen got the notification on August 9th, 2022. She called me at 11:47 p.m. I know because I looked at the clock. What the fuck did you do? She was screaming. I protected Mom. You sued me? Your own sister. You're stealing from our dying mother. I'm managing her money. Money that will be mine anyway when she dies. Half yours. And only if there's anything left. There's plenty left. Then you won't mind providing receipts for $240,000 in expenses. Silence. Long silence. Then, you're going to regret this, Michael. I promise you that. She hung up. The next morning, Karen showed up at Mom's house with her own lawyer. A slick guy in an expensive suit named Bradley Morrison. They demanded to see Mom. She's sleeping, I said. Wake her up. This is important. No. Bradley stepped forward. Mr. Chen, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is you let us speak to your mother. The hard way is we get a court order and remove you from the premises for obstructing access. My hands clenched, but I stepped aside. They went into Mom's room. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Karen sat on the edge of Mom's bed. Mom, wake up. It's Karen. Mom's eyes opened slowly. Confused. Foggy. Mom, Michael is trying to cause trouble. He filed some legal papers saying I stole from you. But I didn't steal anything, did I? I was just helping. Like you asked, right? Mom looked at her, then at me. Mom, tell them. Tell them you asked me to help with the money. Mom's voice was weak. I don't remember. You don't remember asking me to help? I don't remember anything. Where's Michael? I'm here, Mom. Bradley was typing notes on his phone. Mrs. Chen, do you remember signing a document about your bank accounts last week? Mom's face scrunched up. I signed lots of things. This was wrong. This was so wrong. They were questioning her when she was barely conscious. That's enough, I said. Get out. Karen stood. Gladly. Come on, Bradley. We got what we needed. After they left, Mom started crying. Did I say something wrong? No, Mom. You didn't do anything wrong. But I knew what just happened. Karen's lawyer would use Mom's confusion to claim she was incompetent to sign the affidavit, that the whole case was invalid. That night, I sat in the kitchen with my head in my hands. Amy called. Richard told me what happened. Don't give up. They're going to win. Mom can barely remember her own name some days, which is exactly why what Karen did is abuse. We'll make that argument. Hang in there. But I wasn't sure how much longer I could hang on. The money was disappearing. Mom was dying, and Karen was always one step ahead. The court hearing was scheduled for August 23rd, 2022, 2 weeks away. In those 2 weeks, everything got worse. Mom stopped eating. Just stopped. Teresa said it was normal for end-stage cancer patients, but watching her fade was torture. She'd lost 40 pounds already. Now she was just skin and bones and those sharp brown eyes that sometimes recognized me and sometimes didn't. Karen didn't visit. Not once. Her lawyers sent letters. Lots of letters. They claimed I was the one manipulating Mom, that I'd isolated her from Karen, that the affidavit was signed under duress. All lies. But lies wrapped in legal language sound like truth. On August 15th, 1 week before the hearing, I was cleaning out Mom's desk looking for old medical bills to prove Karen's expenses story was bullshit. Mom had kept everything. Receipts going back years. Organized in folders by year and category. That's when I found it. A checkbook, hidden in the back of the bottom drawer, under a stack of old birthday cards. But not Mom's checkbook. The register was in different handwriting. Neat. Precise. Karen's handwriting. I recognized it from birthday cards she'd sent over the years. My hand started shaking as I opened it. The checks were from Mom's account, but the register showed deposits and withdrawals that didn't match any bank statements I'd seen. I read the entries. June 12th, 2022, withdrawal, $8,000, dental work. June 19th, 2022, withdrawal, $12,000, property repairs. June 28th, 2022, withdrawal, $15,000, medical equipment. July 3rd, 2022, withdrawal, $20,000, advance on inheritance will repay. That last one, advance on inheritance. Karen knew she was stealing. She'd written it down, but there was more. Entries going back further. Before April, when Karen got added to the account. February 2nd, 2022, withdrawal, $5,000, emergency loan from Mom. March 15th, 2022, withdrawal, $7,500, Mom's gift for Jessica's birthday. How? Karen wasn't on the account, yet in February or March. I flipped to the front of the checkbook, looked at the account number. It was Mom's savings account, the one Karen shouldn't have had access to until April. My chest got tight. Karen had been stealing before she was even on the accounts. But how? I took photos of every page. Then I called Amy. I found something. What? A checkbook. Karen's handwriting. It shows she was taking money as early as February, before she had legal access. That's fraud. That's actual criminal fraud. Send me the photos now. I sent them. 30 seconds later, my phone rang. Michael, this changes everything. If she was accessing accounts before being added as joint owner, that's identity theft and forgery. Did your mom give her blank checks? I don't know. I can ask. Do it. Now. If your mom says no, Karen is looking at criminal charges. I went to Mom's room. She was awake, staring at the ceiling. Mom, I need to ask you something. Okay. Did you give Karen any checks from your savings account? Before April? Mom's face scrunched up, thinking. No, that account. That was my emergency fund. Nobody had checks for it except me. Are you sure? Michael, I may be dying, but I'm not stupid. That account was mine. For emergencies. I never gave Karen checks. I kissed her forehead. Thank you, Mom. I called Richard immediately. We have her, he said after I explained. This is no longer just civil elder abuse. This is criminal. I'm contacting the DA's office today. What does that mean? It means Karen could go to jail. And it means the court will take our restraining order very seriously. For the first time in months, I felt hope. The court hearing on August 23rd was surreal. Mom couldn't attend, too sick. But Richard had her video deposition from her clear day, the affidavit, Teresa's testimony, medical records proving Mom's cognitive decline, and now the checkbook evidence. Karen showed up in a designer suit, perfectly made up, playing the victim. Her lawyer Bradley argued that Mom had given Karen verbal permission for everything. That Michael was a disgruntled sibling trying to cut Karen out. But the checkbook was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Richard stood up. Mrs. Morrison wrote advance on inheritance in her own handwriting. That's an admission of theft. My client intended to repay. From her mother's inheritance? That's not repayment. That's theft twice over. The judge, a woman named Marion Foster, looked tired. She'd probably seen 100 cases like this. Here's what I'm going to do, Judge Foster said. I'm granting the temporary restraining order. All of Eleanor Chen's accounts are frozen immediately except for a monthly allowance of $5,000 for legitimate care expenses, which must be approved by Michael Chen and documented with receipts. Karen's face went white. Furthermore, Judge Foster continued, I'm ordering a full forensic accounting of all withdrawals since February 2022. Karen Morrison, you have 30 days to provide documentation for every dollar withdrawn. If you cannot provide legitimate receipts, you will be required to return those funds. Your Honor, Bradley started. I'm not finished. I'm also referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for potential criminal investigation regarding the pre-April withdrawals. This court takes elder financial abuse very seriously. The gavel came down. Karen didn't look at me as she left. Outside the courthouse, Richard shook my hand. You did it. The accounts are frozen. She can't take any more. How much is left? We'll find out during the forensic accounting. But based on what you've documented, probably around $1.4 million. $400,000 gone. In less than 6 months. But we'd stopped her. Finally stopped her. I drove back to Mom's house feeling lighter than I had in months. I couldn't wait to tell her. But when I walked in, Teresa was there. Her face said everything. She's asking for you, Teresa said quietly. It's time, Michael. Mom was propped up on pillows, breathing shallow, eyes half open. Mom, Michael. Her voice was barely a whisper. Did we win? Yeah, Mom. We won. The judge froze the accounts. Karen can't take any more. A smile. So small. Good. Good baby. Mom, don't talk. Save your energy. No energy left to save. Her hand found mine. Cold. So cold. I'm sorry I let her. I should have known. You have nothing to be sorry for. Love you. Love you so much. I love you too, Mom. Her eyes closed. She died at 6:47 p.m. August 23rd, 2022. The same day we won in court. Mom's funeral was on October 3rd, 2023. We'd waited over a year. Not because we wanted to, because Karen fought us on everything. After Mom died, Karen immediately filed an objection to the will. Claimed Mom wasn't mentally competent when she'd updated it. Claimed I'd manipulated her. The probate process ground to a halt while lawyers argued. For 14 months, everything was frozen. The house sat empty. The accounts stayed locked. Karen and I didn't speak except through lawyers. The forensic accounting came back in November 2022. Karen had stolen $438,000. Not $400,000 like we thought. $438,000. She couldn't provide receipts for any of it. The court ordered her to repay it all. She filed for bankruptcy instead. The DA decided not to press criminal charges. Insufficient evidence of criminal intent, they said. Apparently writing advance on inheritance wasn't enough proof she knew she was stealing. I was furious. But Richard said, focus on what we can control. The civil case. Making sure she doesn't get a penny more. So we fought and fought and fought. By October 2023, we'd finally reached a settlement. Karen would get nothing from the estate until she repaid the $438,000. Since she declared bankruptcy, that meant never. The remaining $1.362 million would go to me, and we could finally bury Mom. Karen showed up to the funeral in black Gucci. I know because she told 3 people it was Gucci. Her daughter Jessica was with her, looking bored and scrolling on her phone. The service was at Mom's church. Small, maybe 40 people. Mom's friend from work, neighbors, distant relatives who'd heard about the drama and came to watch the show. I gave the eulogy. Talked about Mom's strength, her kindness, How she'd worked for 40 years, saving every dollar to leave her kid something. How she died knowing at least part of it was protected. I didn't mention Karen. Didn't have to. Everyone knew. After the service, people gathered at the church hall for lunch. Standard funeral food. Sandwiches. Potato salad. Coffee. That's when I set up the recording. I'd thought about it for weeks. Ever since Amy mentioned that we needed more evidence of Karen's intent, her mindset. The bankruptcy had protected her from paying back the money, but it didn't change what she'd done. And I wanted proof. Real proof. In her own words. My phone was in my jacket pocket. Recording app running. I made sure to stand near Karen and her little group. Jessica, Bradley the lawyer, and Karen's friend Denise who'd flown in from San Diego. At first, they talked about normal things. The service. The flowers. How the pastor had done a nice job. Then Karen's voice dropped lower. But not low enough. Well, at least it's finally over. Did you get anything? Denise asked. Karen laughed. Actually laughed. Not a cent. The judge gave it all to St. Michael. But honestly, I already got mine. My blood went ice cold. What do you mean? Jessica asked. I mean, I took what I deserved years ago. Almost $500,000. Mom would have blown it on medical bills anyway. But the court ordered you to pay it back, Denise said. Yeah, well, bankruptcy is a beautiful thing. They can order all they want. I don't have it anymore. Another laugh. I invested it. Tech stocks, crypto, real estate. Some of it's gone, sure. But I still have about $200,000 hidden in accounts they don't know about. Offshore stuff. Bradley set it up. I couldn't breathe. She'd hidden money, while claiming bankruptcy, while telling the court she had nothing. Bradley's voice came next. Karen, we probably shouldn't talk about. Oh, please, who cares? Michael's over there playing grieving son. He has no idea. And even if he did, what's he going to do? Sue me again? I'm judgment-proof now. Mom was so easy, Karen continued. I just told her I needed help with bills, and she'd hand over her checkbook. Toward the end, she didn't even remember I'd been there. It was like taking candy from a baby. A dying, confused baby. Jessica giggled. Actually giggled. That's awful, Karen, Denise said, but she was smiling. What's awful is I should have taken more. There was $1.8 million just sitting there. I could have cleaned out everything if Michael hadn't gotten paranoid. Your mom trusted you, Denise said. Yeah, well, trust is expensive. She paid for hers. My hands were shaking so hard I had to press them against my legs. I wanted to turn around, wanted to scream, wanted to hit her, but I didn't. I stood there for another 5 minutes. Let her keep talking. She bragged about the offshore accounts, about how she'd spent $50,000 on new car, another $80,000 on renovating her condo, how she'd taken Jessica on a grief vacation to Hawaii that cost $15,000. All of it, recorded. When I finally walked away, I went straight to the bathroom and threw up. Then I called Richard. I have something, I said. You're not going to believe this. Richard listened to the recording 3 times. Didn't say a word. Just sat there in his office, headphones on, taking notes. When he finally looked up, his eyes were different. Sharp. Hungry. This is bankruptcy fraud. Clear as day. She testified under oath that she had no hidden assets. This recording proves she lied to a federal bankruptcy court. What does that mean? It means this isn't my jurisdiction anymore. This is federal. FBI, U.S. Attorney's Office. Karen just committed a felony on tape. My hands were still shaking. Will they prosecute? With evidence this clear? Absolutely. Bankruptcy fraud carries up to 5 years in prison. And that's before we talk about the money laundering implications of offshore accounts. How long does this take? Depends. Could be months. Could be a year. Federal cases move slowly. He leaned forward. But here's what happens now. I contact the U.S. attorney. They'll open an investigation. They'll subpoena her bank records, find those offshore accounts. She won't know what hit her until agents show up at her door. I want to be there when she finds out. Richard smiled. Grim. I'll see what I can do. The U.S. Attorney's Office took the case within 2 weeks. A prosecutor named Jennifer Hartley called me personally. Mr. Chen, this recording is remarkable evidence. Clear admission of fraud, hidden assets, even attorney involvement. We're going to bring charges. When? We need to build the case first. Trace the money, verify the offshore accounts, interview witnesses. Figure out how deep this goes. Give us 3 months, maybe 4. For months felt like forever. But I waited. During that time, Karen had no idea. She was living her life. I saw her Instagram. Jessica's account was public. Photos of Karen at expensive restaurants. Shopping trips. A weekend in Napa Valley. All funded by Mom's stolen money. Every photo made me angrier. In January 2024, 3 months after the funeral, Jennifer called again. We found it. All of it. She has $187,000 in a Cayman Islands account. Another $43,000 in cryptocurrency wallets. And get this, her lawyer Bradley Morrison has his own offshore accounts. We think he's been doing this with multiple clients. So you have enough? More than enough. We're filing charges next week. Bankruptcy fraud, wire fraud, money laundering. Bradley's getting charged separately. This is going to be big news. Can I be there? When you arrest her? Silence. Then, that's unusual. But given the circumstances and the fact that you're the victim here, I can arrange for you to be present when we execute the search warrant. You won't be in the room, but you can be nearby. Thank you. The arrest happened on February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. I didn't plan that, but it felt right somehow. Jennifer and 2 FBI agents met me 3 blocks from Karen's condo in San Diego at 6 a.m. Cold morning. Fog rolling in from the ocean. We're going in at 6:30, Jennifer said. You'll stay in the car with Agent Martinez. When it's over, if you want to see her, we can arrange a brief encounter. I want to see her. At exactly 6:30 a.m., I watched from the car as Jennifer and 4 agents walked up to Karen's building. They buzzed her unit. Waited. Buzzed again. Then they went in. 15 minutes later, the door opened. Karen came out in handcuffs. Hair messy. No muck-up. Looking confused and scared and small. She saw the FBI vehicles. Her face went white. They put her in the back of a black SUV. That's when she saw me. Our eyes met through the car windows. 20 feet apart. She knew. I saw it. She knew I'd done this. Her mouth opened like she was going to scream something. But no sound came out. Then the SUV drove away. Agent Martinez turned to me. How do you feel? Empty, I said. And it was true. I thought I'd feel triumph. Victory. Something. But all I felt was hollow. Mom was still dead. David was still dead. The family was still destroyed. Karen going to prison wouldn't bring any of them back. But it was justice. And sometimes justice is all you get. Jennifer walked over to my car. We recovered her laptop, phone, financial documents. There's enough here to put her away for years. The arraignment is tomorrow. If you want to be there, you can sit in the gallery. I'll be there. That night, I called Linda. Told her everything. How do you feel? She asked. Same question as Agent Martinez. Like I did what I had to do. What Mom would have wanted. Your mom would be proud of you. I don't know about that. But at least she'd know I tried. I protected what was left. And I made sure Karen didn't get away with it. That's all anyone can do, Michael. I sat in the dark for a long time after that call. Thinking about Mom. About the promise I'd made. About watching her die knowing she'd been betrayed by her own daughter. Karen had called trust expensive. She was about to find out just how expensive. The arraignment was February 15th, 2024. Day after the arrest. San Diego Federal Courthouse. I got there an hour early and sat in the back row of the gallery. The courtroom filled up fast. Reporters, other lawyers, people who just wanted to watch someone rich fall. Karen's case had made the news. Local real estate agent charged with defrauding dying mother was the headline in the San Diego Union Tribune. At 9 a.m., they brought Karen in. Orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed in front, hair pulled back. No muck-up. She looked 10 years older than she had at the funeral. Her eyes scanned the courtroom. Found me. Held for 3 seconds. Then she looked away. The judge was a man named Thomas Brennan. Maybe 60. Gray hair. Expression that said he'd seen everything and wasn't impressed by any of it. United States versus Karen Marie Morrison, the clerk announced. Jennifer Hartley stood. The government is ready, Your Honor. Karen's new lawyer stood too. Not Bradley. He was facing his own charges. This was a public defender named Robert Hastings. Young guy. Looked overwhelmed. Ms. Morrison, Judge Brennan said, you're charged with bankruptcy fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. Do you understand these charges? Karen's voice came out small. Yes. How do you plead? Silence. Long silence. Ms. Morrison, not guilty. Barely a whisper. The government requests remand, Your Honor, Jennifer said. Ms. Morrison has access to hidden offshore accounts and has already demonstrated willingness to lie under oath. She's a significant flight risk. Your Honor, my client has lived in San Diego for 20 years, Hastings argued. She has a daughter here. Community ties. She's not going anywhere. Judge Brennan looked at the file. The government has presented evidence of offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Ms. Morrison has a passport, and she's charged with crimes that carry significant prison time. I'm inclined to agree with the government. Your Honor, bail is set at $500,000 cash. If Ms. Morrison can post that, she'll be released pending trial with GPS monitoring and surrender of her passport. Otherwise, she remains in custody. Karen's face crumbled. She couldn't post $500,000. All her money was frozen or seized. Anything else? Judge Brennan asked. Your Honor, Jennifer said, the victim in this case, Michael Chen, is present. He'd like to make a brief statement for the record. My stomach dropped. I hadn't prepared anything. Mr. Chen, the judge looked at me. I stood up, legs shaking. Your Honor, I want to say that my mother, Eleanor Chen, worked for 40 years to save that money. She trusted my sister to help her when she was dying. And my sister stole from her, made jokes about it, called her easy to steal from. My mother died, thinking at least some of her money was protected. She deserved better than this. Judge Brennan nodded. Thank you, Mr. Chen. I sat down, hands trembling. Karen was looking at me again, tears running down her face now. But I couldn't tell if she was crying because she was sorry or because she got caught. Trial is set for June 3rd, Judge Brennan said. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. They took Karen out through a side door. She didn't look back. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. Mr. Chen, how do you feel about your sister's arrest? Do you think she'll go to prison? What would your mother say if she was here? I pushed through them, said nothing, got in my car and drove. I didn't go home. I drove to Fresno, to Mom's old house. It was still empty, waiting to be sold. I had the keys. I sat in her living room. Same room where she told us about the diagnosis. Same room where we'd had that first conversation about the will. Fair and square. My phone buzzed. Text from Amy, saw the news. You okay? I typed back. Yeah, it's done. We're starting to be done. Proud of you. Your mom would be too. Would she? Mom had hated conflict, hated family drama. Would she be proud that I'd put her daughter in jail? Or would she be heartbroken that it came to this? I'd never know. Another text. This one from a number I didn't recognize. You destroyed our family. I hope you're happy. Jessica. Had to be. I deleted it. Blocked the number. Then I called Linda. It's over, I said. The arraignment. She's in jail. Can't post bail. Good. Is it good? She's still my sister. And she's sitting in a cell right now. She's sitting in a cell because she stole from your dying mother. Don't you dare feel guilty about this. I don't feel guilty. I feel tired. Come home, Michael. You've done enough. Let the lawyers handle the rest. She was right. I done my part. Recorded the confession. Gave it to the feds. Showed up at court. The rest was out of my hands. But as I locked up Mom's house and drove away, I kept seeing Karen's face in that courtroom. Orange jumpsuit. Tears. Looking small and scared. She called Mom easy to steal from. Now she'd find out what easy really meant. Karen spent 3.5 months in jail waiting for trial. She couldn't post bail. No one would help her. Not Jessica. Not her friends. Not anyone. The trial started on June 3rd, 2024. Same courthouse. Same judge. But this time the gallery was packed. Media, family members I hadn't seen in years, people from Mom's church. Everyone wanted to see how it ended. I sat in the front row behind the prosecution table. Jennifer had asked me to be there every day. Juries respond to victims, she'd said. I need to see you. See what this did to your family. Day 1 was jury selection. 12 people who'd never heard of Eleanor Chen or Karen Morrison. By the end of the day, we had our jury. 7 women, 5 men. Ages ranging from mid-20s to late 60s. Day 2, opening statements. Jennifer stood up first. She was good, really good. Walked the jury through everything. Mom's diagnosis. Karen gaining access to the accounts. The systematic theft. The bankruptcy. The offshore accounts. The recording. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about betrayal. A daughter who saw her mother's terminal illness not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity. Who stole $438,000 from a dying woman. Who laughed about it at her mother's funeral. Who hid the money in offshore accounts and lied to a federal bankruptcy court. She pointed at Karen. The defendant gambled that no one would catch her. She was wrong. Robert Hastings, Karen's lawyer, tried his best. He argued that Karen had been under financial stress, that she'd intended to pay the money back, that the offshore accounts were set up on bad legal advice from Bradley Morrison, that she loved her mother and never meant to hurt her. My client made mistakes. She acknowledges that. But mistakes aren't crimes. The prosecution wants you to believe Karen Morrison is a monster. She's not. She's a flawed human being who made bad choices during an impossibly difficult time. I watched the jury. They weren't buying it. Day 3, Jennifer played the recording. The courtroom went silent. You could hear every word. Karen's voice, clear as day. I took what I deserved. Almost $500,000. Mom would have blown it on medical bills anyway. Mom was so easy, like taking candy from a dying, confused baby. Trust is expensive. She paid for hers. When it finished, the silence lasted 10 seconds. Then murmuring. The jury looked shocked. One woman in the back row was crying. Karen sat at the defense table with her head down, not moving, not looking at anyone. Jennifer called witnesses next. First was the forensic accountant who'd traced the money. He walked the jury through every withdrawal, every transfer, every hidden account. It took 2 hours. By the end, the numbers were overwhelming. Then Amy testified, explained how she'd reached out to me, how she connected me with Richard, how she'd seen this pattern before in her work. Then Teresa, the hospice nurse. She talked about Mom's mental state, the medication, the confusion, how Mom had asked about her money constantly toward the end. Did Eleanor Chen seem like someone capable of authorizing $438,000 in withdrawals? Jennifer asked. No, absolutely not. She could barely remember what day it was most of the time. Then it was my turn. I've been dreading this. Standing up in front of strangers. Talking about Mom. About Karen. About everything. Jennifer walked me through it gently. What did I notice money missing? What did Karen say? How did Mom react? What was on the recording? I answered every question. Try to keep my voice steady. Try not to cry. Then Hastings cross-examined me. Mr. Chen, you and your sister have never gotten along, have you? We weren't close. In fact, you resented her, didn't you? No, you resented that she was successful, that she made more money than you, that your mother seemed to favor her. That's not true. Isn't it true that you saw your mother's illness as an opportunity to cut your sister out of the inheritance? I stared at him. My sister stole from our dying mother. That's not resentment. That's fact. Your Honor, Hastings said, the witness is being non-responsive. I'll allow it, Judge Brennan said. Move on, counselor. Hastings tried a few more angles. Suggested I'd manipulated Mom into signing the affidavit. Suggested the recording was taken out of context. Suggested I was motivated by greed. None of it landed. The jury could see through it. When I stepped down, my legs were shaking. But I'd done it. Day 4, the prosecution rested. They'd proven everything. The theft, the bankruptcy fraud, the hidden accounts, all of it. Now, it was the defense's turn. Hastings called character witnesses, people who'd known Karen for years, friends, former clients. They talked about how generous she was, how she'd help people buy homes, how she was a good mother to Jessica. It felt hollow, like putting a nice frame on a poisonous painting. Then Hastings called Karen to the stand. The courtroom tensed. This was it, her chance to explain, to show remorse, to humanize herself. She took the stand looking small, tired, broken. Hastings walked her through her version. Yes, she'd taken money from Mom's accounts, but she'd been under enormous financial stress. 2 divorces had destroyed her savings. Real estate commissions were down. She had a mortgage. Jessica needed help with bills. I told myself I'd pay it back, Karen said, her voice cracking. I swear I meant to. When Mom died and the estate settled, I'd pay it all back. I just needed time. Did you love your mother? Hastings asked. Yes, so much. She was everything to me. Do you regret what happened? Every day. Every single day. I made terrible mistakes. I hurt my mother. I hurt my brother. I destroyed my family. I wish I could take it all back. She was crying now. Real tears. The jury watched. Then Jennifer stood up for cross-examination. Ms. Morrison, you testified that you intended to pay the money back. Is that correct? Yes. Then why did you hide it in offshore accounts? Pause. My lawyer suggested. Your lawyer suggested you commit bankruptcy fraud? He said it was legal asset protection. Asset protection from what? From having to return stolen money to your mother's estate. It wasn't like that. Jennifer pulled out a document. This is your bankruptcy filing from November 2022. You signed under penalty of perjury that you had no hidden assets. Correct. Yes. But you did have hidden assets. $230,000 in the Cayman Islands in cryptocurrency. Correct. Yes. So you lied under oath. I was advised. Yes or no? Ms. Morrison, did you lie under oath? Karen's face crumpled. Yes. Let's talk about the recording. You remember the day of your mother's funeral? Yes. You were recorded saying, and I quote, Mom was so easy. Like taking candy from a dying, confused baby. Do you remember saying that? Silence. Ms. Morrison, I was upset. I said things I didn't mean. You were upset at your mother's funeral, so you bragged about stealing from her? I wasn't bragging. You said, trust is expensive. She paid for hers. What did you mean by that? I was trying to sound tough. To my friends, you didn't mean that your dying mother paid for trusting you with her life savings? Karen broke down completely, sobbing. Couldn't speak. Judge Brennan called a recess. When court resumed, Jennifer continued. She walked Karen through every lie, every withdrawal, every excuse. By the end, Karen looked destroyed. The jury looked angry. Day 5 was closing arguments. Hastings tried to salvage it. Talked about redemption. Seconde chance. How Karen had already lost everything. Her career, her reputation, her family. Prison won't undo what happened, he said. It won't bring Eleanor Chen back. It won't heal this family. It will only destroy another life. My client needs help, not punishment. Then Jennifer stood. The defense wants you to feel sympathy for Karen Morrison. And maybe you do. Maybe you feel sorry for someone who made mistakes. But let me remind you what those mistakes were. She pulled up a photo of Mom. One from before she got sick. Smiling. Healthy. Alive. This is Eleanor Chen. A woman who worked 40 years to save $1.8 million. Who survived cancer longer than anyone expected through sheer will. Who trusted her daughter to help her in her final months. And that daughter stole from her. Called her easy. Laughed about it. Hid the money. Lied to federal court. And only showed remorse when she got caught. Jennifer looked at the jury. This isn't about mistakes. This is about choices. Karen Morrison chose to steal from her dying mother. Chose to hide the money. Chose to lie under oath. And now she has to face the consequences of those choices. She sat down. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. When they came back, the forewoman stood. On the count of bankruptcy fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of wire fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of money laundering, we find the defendant guilty. Karen collapsed into her chair. Hastings put a hand on her shoulder. Judge Brennan thanked the jury and set sentencing for August 1st, 2024. I walked out of the courthouse in a daze. Reporters shouted questions. I ignored them. Amy caught up with me on the steps. You did it. You actually did it. Yeah, I said, but I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow, empty, sad. Karen was guilty. She'd go to prison. Justice was served. But Mom was still gone. The family was still destroyed. And nothing would ever bring back what we'd lost. August 1st, 2024. Sentencing day. I almost didn't go. Linda asked me that morning, "Do you need to be there? Haven't you been through enough?" Maybe I had, but I needed to hear it. Needed to see it end. The courtroom was less crowded than during the trial. No reporters this time. Just family. A few of Mom's friends. Amy. And me. Karen was brought in wearing the same orange jumpsuit. She'd been in jail for almost 6 months now. She looked different. Thinner. Grayer. Older. She didn't look at me. Judge Brennan entered. We all stood. Then sat. "We're here for sentencing in United States versus Karen Marie Morrison," he said. "Before I impose sentence, I'll hear from the victim and from the defendant. Mr. Chen, would you like to make a statement?" I stood up, walked to the podium. My hands were shaking again. "Your Honor, my name is Michael Chen. Eleanor Chen was my mother." I looked at the paper I'd written, crumpled from being folded and unfolded a dozen times. My mom died on August 23rd, 2022, the same day we won in court to freeze her accounts. The same day she asked me if we won. I told her yes. She smiled. Then she died. My voice cracked. I steadied myself. My sister took $438,000 from her. But she took more than money. She took Mom's peace, her dignity. Her final months were spent worrying about bills instead of saying goodbye to the people she loved. Mom died knowing her own daughter had betrayed her. That's what hurts the most. Not the money. The betrayal. I looked at Karen. She was staring at the table. I don't hate my sister. I wish I did. It would be easier. But I don't. I don't understand her. How you can look at someone who's dying and see a payday. How you can laugh about it at their funeral. How you can call them easy to steal from. Judge Brennan was watching me carefully. My mom worked for 40 years. Saved every penny. Denied herself things so we'd have something when she was gone. And my sister stole it. Not because she was desperate. The forensic accountant showed us where the money went. New car. Condo renovations. Vacations. Shopping. She stole it because she wanted it. Because she could. Because Mom trusted her. I folded the paper. Looked at Judge Brennan. "I'm not asking you to destroy my sister's life. Prison will do that already. I'm just asking you to remember my mom. Remember that she was a real person. A good person. Who deserved better than this. Thank you." I sat down. Linda squeezed my hand. Judge Brennan nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Chen. Ms. Morrison, do you wish to make a statement?" Karen stood. Walked slowly to the podium. Her lawyer stood with her. She looked small. Broken. "Your Honor, Her voice was barely audible. "I don't know what to say. I've thought about this every day for 2 years. Every day. And I still don't understand how I did this." She wiped her eyes. "My brother's right. Everything he said is true. I stole from my mother. I betrayed her. I betrayed him. I destroyed our family. And for what? A car I don't even have anymore. Renovations on a condo that's been foreclosed. Trips I can barely remember." She looked at me. First time since the trial started. "Michael, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know you probably hate me. You should hate me. I hate myself. What I did was unforgivable. Mom trusted me and She broke down, sobbing. "I can't take it back. I'd give anything to take it back. But I can't." Judge Brennan waited. Let her compose herself. "I was jealous," Karen continued, "of you. You were always the good kid. The one who did everything right. Became a firefighter. Married Linda. Stayed close to Mom. And I was a screw-up. 2 divorces. Career barely hanging on. Always struggling. And when Mom got sick You dropped everything. Moved in. Took care of her. Did everything. And I couldn't compete with that. So I took the money. Not because I needed it. Because it was the only way I could feel like I mattered. Like I had something you didn't. The courtroom was silent. That's sick. I know it's sick. I've had a lot of time to think in jail. A lot of therapy. And I finally understand that I've been broken for a long time. Long before Mom got sick. Maybe my whole life. And instead of fixing myself, I hurt the people who loved me. She turned to Judge Brennan. I don't expect mercy. I don't deserve it. I just want Michael to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I want Mom to know, wherever she is, I'm sorry. She sat down, still crying. Judge Brennan looked at his papers. Took his time. I've been a federal judge for 22 years, he said finally. I've sentenced hundreds of defendants. Murderers, drug dealers, fraudsters. And I've learned that people commit crimes for all sorts of reasons. Desperation, addiction, greed, sometimes just stupidity. He looked at Karen. Your case is different. You didn't steal from a stranger. You stole from your dying mother. You didn't steal because you were desperate. Your financial records show you were making decent money. You stole because you felt entitled. Because you could. Because she trusted you. Karen kept her head down. The recording from your mother's funeral is one of the most disturbing pieces of evidence I've heard in my career. Not because of what you took, because of how you talked about it. Easy to steal from. Like taking candy from a baby. Those words show a profound lack of empathy. A profound moral failure. He paused. Your apology today seems sincere. Maybe it is. Maybe you've had an awakening in jail. Maybe therapy has helped you understand your actions. But apologies don't undo harm. They don't return the money. They don't give Eleanor Chen her final months back. They don't heal the family you destroyed. Judge Brennan looked at the sentencing guidelines. The guidelines recommend 41 to 51 months in prison. The government has asked for the maximum. Your attorney has asked for the minimum, with credit for time served. He looked up. I'm going to impose a sentence of 48 months. For years. You'll serve 85% of that, roughly 3 years and 5 months, followed by 3 years of supervised release. You'll also be required to pay full restitution of $438,000 to the estate of Eleanor Chen. If you can't pay it, the debt will follow you for the rest of your life. Karen's shoulders shook. You'll report to FCI Dublin in California within 30 days. Your attorney will receive the paperwork. The gavel came down. Court is adjourned. Guards came to take Karen away. She looked back at me one last time. I didn't look away. Didn't smile. Didn't cry. I just watched her go. Outside the courthouse, Amy hugged me. It's over. It's finally over. Yeah, I said. But was it? Karen would go to prison. Serve her time. Eventually get out. And then what? The money would come back to Mom's estate. I'd inherit it. All of it. $1.362 million plus the $438,000 Karen would have to repay somehow. But Mom was still dead. The family was still broken. David was still gone. And I was standing on the steps of federal courthouse at age 59, having just watched my sister get sentenced to 4 years in prison. Nobody won this. Not really. We all just lost different things. I didn't go straight home after the sentencing. I drove to Fresno, to the cemetery where we'd finally buried Mom in November 2023, after the estate was settled enough to pay for it. Her grave was in the shade of an oak tree. Simple headstone. Eleanor Chen, beloved mother. 1939 to 2022. I sat on the grass next to it. We got her, Mom, I said out loud. Felt stupid talking to a piece of granite. Did anyway. 4 years. She has to pay back everything. It's over. The wind moved through the oak leaves. That was the only answer. I don't know if you'd be happy about this. Probably not. You hated when we fought, even when we were kids. You always wanted us to get along. Be a family. I pulled up some weeds growing near the base of the stone. But we're not a family anymore. David's gone. Karen's going to prison. It's just me now. Just me. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't know. We need to talk. Jessica. I stared at it. Hadn't heard from Jessica since her angry text after the arraignment. Over a year ago, I texted back about what? My mom. What you did to her. Meet me. 1 hour. Mom's house in Fresno. Mom's house was still unsold. Market was tough. And the house had bad energy now. Everyone in Fresno knew what happened there. Hard to sell a house where someone died and their daughter robbed them. I didn't want to meet Jessica. Didn't want another confrontation. But maybe it was necessary. Maybe we both needed to say things. I drove to the house. Got there first. Sat in my car waiting. Jessica pulled up 15 minutes later. She looked different than at the funeral. Harder. Thinner. Her hair was darker. She walked up to the porch where I was sitting. "Thanks for coming," she said. Not warm. Not cold. Flat. "What do you want, Jessica?" "To understand why you destroyed my mother." "I didn't destroy your mother. Your mother destroyed herself. She made mistakes. She needed help. Not prison." I stood up. "She stole $438,000 from our dying grandmother." Laughed about it. Called her easy to steal from. "That's not a mistake. That's a crime." She was desperate. No, she wasn't. The forensic accountant proved that. She was making good money. She stole because she wanted to. Because she felt entitled. Jessica's face twisted. "You don't know what it was like for her. Growing up in your shadow. Perfect Michael. The hero firefighter. Mom always compared herself to you. Always felt like she wasn't good enough. That's not my fault. Isn't it? You could have helped her. Could have been kinder. Could have. Could have what? Let her steal from grandma without consequences? That's not kindness. That's enabling." Jessica looked away. "She's my mom. She's all I have." And there it was. The real issue. Jessica was 30 years old. 2 failed jobs. Living in her mom's condo before it was foreclosed. No real friends. No partner. Her whole identity was being Karen's daughter. And now Karen was gone. "Jessica, I'm sorry this happened. I really am. But your mom made choices. Bad choices. And choices have consequences. She's going to prison for 4 years. She stole $438,000 from a dying woman. That woman was my grandmother, too. You think I don't care? You think this doesn't hurt me? Then why are you defending her?" "Because she's my mother." Jessica's voice cracked. "Because despite everything, despite all her mistakes, she's still my mom. And you took her away from me. Karen took herself away. I just made sure she faced justice." "Justice?" Jessica laughed bitterly. "Is that what you call this? You got your money. Grandma's money. Almost $2 million. And my mom gets 4 years in prison and a debt she'll never be able to pay. That's not justice. That's revenge. If I wanted revenge, I would have pushed for more. The DA could have filed additional charges. I could have fought for a longer sentence. I didn't. I just wanted her to face consequences for what she did." Jessica shook her head. "You know what's funny? Grandma would have forgiven her. Grandma forgave everyone. She would have been heartbroken that you sent her daughter to prison." That hit hard, because it might be true. "Maybe," I said. "But Mom also deserved to have her wishes honored. She worked 40 years for that money. She wanted it split fairly. She wanted her end-of-life care paid for legitimately, not stolen. You think you're the hero of this story. No, I don't. I think we all lost. Your mom lost her freedom. I lost my sister. You lost your mom. Grandma lost her dignity. There are no heroes here." Jessica sat down on the porch steps. She looked exhausted. "What am I supposed to do now?" she asked quietly. "What do you mean?" "I am chigiste. I have no degree. No career. I was living with my mom. Now she's gone. The condo's foreclosed. I have nowhere to go. No money. Nothing." I sat down next to her. Not too close, but close enough. "You have options. You're young. You can go back to school. Get training. Build something. With what money?" I thought about that. About the $1.8 million sitting in Mom's estate. Money that was technically mine now. "I'll help you," I said. The words came out before I thought them through. Jessica looked at me. "What?" "I'll give you $20,000. Enough to get an apartment. Go to community college. Get some training. Start fresh." "Why would you do that?" "Because you're family. Despite everything, you're still family. And because Mom would have wanted me to help. Not your mom. But you. You didn't steal from grandma. You didn't commit fraud. You're just collateral damage in someone else's war. Jessica's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve that. Maybe not. But I'm offering anyway. One condition, you get therapy. Real therapy. You deal with whatever made you think your mom's behavior was acceptable. You build a real life. Not one dependent on someone else. Can you do that? She nodded. I can try. That's all anyone can do. We sat there for a while. Not talking. Just sitting. Finally, Jessica said, I'm sorry. For what? For the text. After the arraignment. For blaming you. You were right. Mom did this to herself. I didn't want to see it. It's hard to see people we love clearly sometimes. Will you visit her? In prison? I don't know. Maybe. Someday. Not yet. She asks about you. In her letters. Want to know if you're okay. That surprised me. She writes you? Every week. Long letters. Talking about her therapy. Her regrets. How she's trying to understand why she did what she did. Jessica wiped her eyes. She's different now. Or maybe she's finally being honest. I don't know. People can change. Sometimes. If they want to badly enough. Do you think you'll ever forgive her? I thought about that. Really thought about it. I don't know. Right now, I'm just tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of being angry. Tired of this whole nightmare. Maybe someday. But not today. Jessica nodded. Fair enough. We exchanged numbers. I transferred the $20,000 to her account that afternoon. She cried when the notification came through. Send me a text. Thank you. I won't waste this. I hope she wouldn't. But I also knew some people can't be saved. Can't be fixed. They have to save themselves. A week later, the estate finally closed. All debts paid. All legal fees settled. The house sold for $620,000. Less than it was worth, but the best we could do given its history. The final total, $1,982,000. Almost $2 million. Mom's life savings. Her legacy. What she worked 40 years to build. I set aside $100,000 for Karen's restitution payments. The court would garnish it from her wages when she got out, but I wanted to make sure the money was there. Another $50,000 went to Mom's church. She would have wanted that. $20,000 to Jessica. The rest, $1,812,000, went into my account. I stared at the number. More money than I'd ever imagined having. More than I needed. More than I wanted. Honestly, it felt heavy. Like blood money. Even though it was legally mine. Even though I'd fought for it. Even though Mom wanted me to have it. It felt wrong. Linda found me sitting at the kitchen table that night, staring at the bank statement. You okay? She asked. I don't know what to do with it. The money. Yeah, it's too much. I don't need this much. We already have our house paid off. We have my pension. We're fine. Linda sat down across from me. What would make you feel better about it? I thought about Mom. About her life. About what mattered to her. She cared about family. About helping people. About making sure the next generation had opportunities. So do that. Set up scholarships. Help people who need it. Make the money mean something. That felt right. Over the next month, I worked with a financial advisor. Set up a scholarship fund at Fresno State for first-generation college students. $500,000. Another $200,000 to a cancer research foundation. $100,000 to the Firefighters Benevolent Fund that had helped my family when Dad died. The rest stayed invested. For emergencies. For the future. For whatever came next. And slowly, very slowly, the weight lifted. The money wasn't the point anymore. It never had been. The point was keeping Mom's memory alive. Making sure her 40 years of work meant something. Making sure her legacy was more than just a court case about betrayal. She was more than what Karen did to her. She was more than the victim in a fraud trial. She was Eleanor Chen, mother, worker, fighter, someone who built something from nothing and wanted to leave her kids better off than she'd been. And now, finally, her wishes were being honored. September 2025. 1 year after Karen went to prison. I was 60 years old. Retired. Living the life I'd planned before Mom got sick. Linda and I traveled. Saw the Grand Canyon. Spent 2 weeks in Hawaii. Normal retired people stuff. But nothing felt normal. Jessica called me once a month. She'd kept her promise. Got into community college. Studying dental hygiene. Had her own apartment. A part-time job. She was building something real. I saw Mom last week, she told me on one of those calls. She looks better. Healthier. The prison has good therapy programs. She's different, Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike. She'd never called me that before. Different how? Honest. She talks about what she did. Doesn't make excuses anymore. She asked about you again. What did you tell her? That you're okay. That you're living your life. That maybe someday you'll visit. Would I? I didn't know. Part of me wanted to see her. Wanted to know if she really had changed. If prison had broken through whatever wall she'd built around her conscience. But another part of me was still angry. Still hurt. Still grieving for the family we'd lost. Linda thought I should go. For closure, she said. Not for her. For you. In October 2025, I drove to FCI Dublin. 2-hour drive from Sacramento. The whole way there, I almost turned around a dozen times. The prison was gray. Everything was gray. Gray walls. Gray uniforms. Gray faces. They brought Karen to the visiting room. She looked older. Much older. Her hair was completely gray now. She lost weight. Had lines around her eyes I didn't remember. We sat across from each other at a metal table. Didn't speak for 30 seconds. Just looked at each other. Thank you for coming, she said finally. Jessica said you wanted to see me. I did. Ido. She folded her hands. They were shaking slightly. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. In person. Not through lawyers or letters or Jessica. Face to face. Okay. I'm sorry for what I did to Mom. For stealing from her. For betraying her trust. For making her final months about money instead of love. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry for destroying our family. For hurting you. For being the person I was. I'm trying not to be that person anymore. Therapy helps. Having time to think helps. Understanding why I did what I did helps. Why did you do it? She looked down. Jealousy. Insecurity. A lifetime of feeling like I wasn't good enough. Like I didn't matter. Like you were the golden child, and I was the screw-up. So when I had access to something you didn't, Mom's money, I took it. Not because I needed it. Because it made me feel powerful. Like I had something you wanted. I didn't want the money, Karen. I wanted Mom to be okay. I know that now. I didn't know it then. Or I didn't let myself know it. We sat in silence for a moment. Do you forgive me? She asked. I thought about that. Really thought about it. I don't know. I said honestly. Part of me does. Part of me understands you were broken and hurt and dealing with things I didn't see. But part of me is still angry. Still hurt. Still can't believe you did what you did. She nodded. That's fair. I helped Jessica. I told her. Gave her money to start over. She's doing well. Karen's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Thank you for that. She told me. It meant everything to her. To me. I didn't do it for you. I know. But thank you anyway. We talked for another 20 minutes. About nothing important. About everything. About how she spent her days. About her cellmate who was teaching her Spanish. About the program she was in. When visiting hours ended, we stood up. Will you come back? She asked. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. She smiled sadly. I'll be here. I've got 2 more years. As I walked to my car, I felt lighter. Not forgiven. Not healed. But lighter. Some wounds never fully close. Some betrayals leave permanent scars. But maybe with time they hurt less. Maybe that's the best anyone can hope for. It's December 2025 now. 3 years since Mom died. 2 years since the trial. 1 year since Karen went to prison. People asked me if it was worth it. Fighting Karen. Taking her to court. Sending her to prison. I don't know how to answer that. Was justice worth destroying what was left of my family? Was money worth losing my sister? Was being right worth all the pain? I think about Mom a lot. What she would say if she could see how everything turned out. Part of me thinks she'd be proud. Proud that I fought for her. Protected her wishes. Made sure her 40 years of work meant something. But another part thinks she'd be heartbroken. Heartbroken that her children ended up here. One in prison. One alone. The family she'd built scattered and broken. She used to say, family is everything. But what do you do when family betrays you? When the people who are supposed to love you hurt you instead? I learned some things through all of this. Hard things. I learned that love and trust aren't the same thing. You can love someone and still not trust them. You can care about someone and still hold them accountable. I learned that forgiveness is complicated. It's not a switch you flip. It's not something you owe anyone. It's something you do for yourself, when you're ready, if you're ever ready. I learned that money doesn't fix anything. It doesn't bring people back, doesn't heal wounds, doesn't undo betrayal. It's just money. I learned that sometimes there are no good choices. Sometimes you're choosing between bad and worse, between justice and family, between what's right and what's easy. Il chose justice. Maybe that makes me cold. Maybe that makes me cruel. But I couldn't let Karen get away with it. Couldn't let her laugh about stealing from our dying mother and face no consequences. Mom deserved better than that. The scholarship fund has helped 8 students so far. First-generation college kids who couldn't afford tuition. Mom would have loved that. She always believed in education, in giving people chances. That's her real legacy. Not the money Karen stole. Not the court case. Not the prison sentence. Her legacy is the lives she touched, the people she helped, the example she set of working hard and saving and planning for the future. Jessica graduated from her dental hygiene program last week. She sent me a photo in her cap and gown. She looked happy, proud, like she'd accomplished something real. That's Mom's legacy too. Breaking cycles, giving people second chances, believing people can be better than their worst moments. Karen has 2 years left in prison. Maybe she'll come out changed. Maybe she won't. I can't control that. I can only control how I respond. I think I'll visit her again. Not yet, but someday. Because despite everything, she's still my sister. And despite everything, I still remember the good times. Before the cancer, before the money, before everything fell apart. I remember Karen teaching me to ride a bike when I was 6. Karen helping me with algebra homework in high school. Karen being the first person I called when Linda and I got engaged. She was more than the person who stole from Mom. Just like Mom was more than a victim. People are complicated. Families are complicated. Life is complicated. I wish I could tell you there was a happy ending. That we all reconciled and became a family again. That Karen got out of prison and we forgave each other and everything was okay. But that's not how this story ends. This story ends with me at 60 years old, sitting in the house I share with Linda, looking at a photo of Mom from before she got sick, smiling, healthy, surrounded by her kids at David's graduation from basic training. When things were good, when we were still a family. Those days are gone. David is gone. Mom is gone. Karen might as well be gone for 2 more years. The family as it was doesn't exist anymore. But I'm still here, still standing, still trying to do right by Mom's memory. And maybe that's enough. I've learned that you can do everything right and still lose. You can fight for justice and still feel empty. You can win and still wonder if it was worth it. But you do it anyway. Because some things matter more than comfort, more than family peace, more than avoiding conflict. Mom mattered. Her dignity mattered. Her wishes mattered. Making sure her life's work wasn't stolen and laughed about mattered. So yes, it was worth it, even with everything it cost. Even knowing I'll never get back what I lost. Even sitting here alone, wondering what our lives would have looked like if Karen had just been honest. If she just asked for help. If she'd just been the sister I needed her to be. It was worth it. Because some betrayals you can't ignore. Some wounds you can't pretend don't exist. Some lines, once crossed, change everything. Karen crossed that line. And I made sure there were consequences. That's not revenge. That's not cruelty. That's just justice. And sometimes, justice is all you get. I still have the recording on my phone. Haven't listened to it since the trial. Probably never will again. But it's there. A reminder that family isn't always about blood. It's about trust. About loyalty. About being there when things are hard. Karen wasn't there. Not when it mattered. But I was. And Mom knew it. In her final moments, she knew. That's what I hold on to. On the hard days. On the days when I wonder if I did the right thing. Mom died knowing someone fought for her. Someone protected her. Someone made sure her wishes mattered. That someone was me. And I'd do it all again. Every painful moment. Every court appearance. Every confrontation. Every sleepless night. I'd do it all again. For her. Because that's what family is supposed to do.